The film opens in a town called Red Crow in Canada, which is home to numerous native individuals. We then see a local elderly person named Jesse, who has effectively caught a few fish. He fastidiously removes their digestive tracts and begins to clean them. However, the elderly man is taken aback when he sees the disemboweled fish moving and hopping around. They eventually return to the water and start to swim. In the following scene, we see another native man named Trailer, who is the local sheriff. He responds to a call about a dying dog that belongs to his ex, Joss. When he arrives, he sees that the dog has eaten something poisonous and is in severe pain. Trailer tries his best to save it, but in the end, he has no choice but to put it down. After this, he goes into the house to meet Joss, who is a nurse by profession. She informs him that their son, Joseph, has been arrested in another town. He is joined by his stepbrother, Lysol, whom Trailer took care of with another woman named Clorox. Joss then asks him to go to the station and release his sons immediately. However, Trailer says that he will go later because he wants the boys to suffer for some time. Following this, Trailer puts the dead dog in his car trunk and drives to see his father, who turns out to be Geiger. The elderly man shows him the fish, which are still alive despite having their organs removed. He says he has seen nothing like it and is frightened. After their discussion, they take the fish outside and start to burn them. Trailer then opens his car trunk. But during this, the dead dog miraculously comes back to life and attacks him. This scares Trailer so badly that he immediately shoots the dog again. He then burns it too, but notices that the fish are still moving despite being on fire. The scene then moves to a jail cell where we see Joseph and Lysol. They notice another prisoner approaching them while vomiting blood, which nauseates them. Shortly after, Trailer and Joss arrive at the station. They find out that the boys were arrested for climbing a bridge and defecating on drivers below. "Okay boys, you're staying here," Trailer says when they arrive at the cell. The sick prisoner becomes violent and starts attacking the boys. He bites Joseph on the arm before a cop beats him down with a flashlight and knocks him out. Later, while heading to the hospital, Joss scolds her son for always causing trouble and not making better choices. She also disapproves of him hanging out with Lysol, especially while they were dangling their butts over the bridge. Joseph responds that his brother has gone through a lot since his mother died, and Trailer has practically abandoned him. However, he promises his mother not to misbehave from now on. Shortly after, Joseph arrives at the hospital where he meets his pregnant girlfriend, Charlie. She's there for an abortion, but Joseph begs her to keep the baby. He promises her that he will take care of her, and Charlie eventually changes her mind. Meanwhile, Joss is looking for tetanus shots, but her colleague informs her that they have run out. It turns out a large number of people have come in with bite cases recently. At this moment, the white nurse goes crazy and starts biting people around the hospital. "White women, am I right?" Joss says. Later that night, Trailer responds to a call from a native man named Shooker. This man reveals that his white girlfriend is acting strangely and is trying to attack him. When Trailer arrives at the house, he is shocked to see the woman biting her infant child. He tries to stop her, but the woman becomes aggressive and bites him instead. However, Trailer manages to overpower her and repeatedly hits her in the head with the shotgun until she dies. Following this, as Trailer and Shooker get in the car, he gets a call from Joss. She anxiously reveals that a nurse attempted to bite her, and there's chaos in the hospital. Trailer then drives towards the hospital, and on the way, he comes across an ambulance. Incidentally, Joss, Joseph, and Charlie manage to escape in the ambulance but are still being pursued by the undead. After killing a few more of them and burning their bodies, they finally realize they are dealing with a zombie pandemic. 6 months later, the outbreak of flesh-eating zombies has spread, and Red Crow has been transformed into a fortified compound. The residents have discovered that native individuals are immune to the bite, whereas white refugees are not. This is the reason Trailer and Joseph survived despite being bitten by the zombies. Meanwhile, Lysol has become increasingly hostile towards others, tending to target white outsiders. One day, Joseph brings a man seeking help for his sick daughter. Lysol becomes agitated and scolds his brother for bringing white people into their camp. He wants to cleanse the whiteys and keep them out. He then decides to shoot both the father and the daughter, but Joseph and Charlie try to stop him. This leads to a heated argument between them, and Lysol even points his gun at Charlie's pregnant belly. However, before he can pull the trigger, Trailer intervenes and stops their fight. He then examines the girl and discovers that she's been bitten. He informs the father that his daughter is no longer alive and that he needs to kill her. Trailer then sends the reluctant father inside the camp and finishes off the girl with a heavy heart. In another scene, a young white woman named Lilith arrives at the camp and Joss interrogates her. She asks if Lilith has eaten any people or dogs, but the girl denies this. When asked if she has been bitten, Lilith replies that she hasn't. However, we find out it's a lie when she goes to the bathroom and checks a bite wound on her stomach. Meanwhile, the girl's father shoots himself in the bathroom and quickly turns into a zombie. Lilith sees him from her stall but doesn't mention it to anyone. Elsewhere, Trailer and his crew are planning their next steps for survival. The group includes his father, Vigo, Shuka, and another man named Guard. The problem is that there are too many zombies, and their ammo is running low. They are currently managing zombies at the bridge with a shredding truck, but their main priority is to survive the winter. While discussing this, they are informed about the death of the girl's father, so Trailer goes to deal with the situation. Meanwhile, we see Charlie having a serious conversation with Joseph. She feels like the baby is eating her from the inside out. Because she's white, she is concerned about what will happen if their baby isn't immune. Joseph reassures her that this won't happen and kisses her. On the other hand, Joss checks on Trailer, who has been bitten by another zombie. She takes off his shirt and notices that his back is covered in bite marks. She then sews his wound and informs him that there's no anesthesia and that he must endure the pain. Trailer doesn't mind and thanks her for everything, leading them to share a sweet moment. Sometime thereafter, Lysol takes a few opiates and drinks liquor. With a name like his, I'm surprised he didn't inhale paint too. In his intoxicated state, he goes to Joseph and apologizes for the earlier incident. He also expresses his guilt for always causing problems in the family. Joseph understands the situation and promptly forgives him after all. They are family. Following this touching moment, Lysol sees Lilith in the distance and decides to go play with her. After chatting for a while, he brings her into a room to have some fun. But to his shock, Lilith suddenly transforms into a zombie and starts chowing down on his nuts. This makes Lysol scream in pain, drawing the attention of others. Joseph quickly arrives to check on his brother and is horrified to see him being eaten alive. Meanwhile, Trailer sets out to gather supplies with his team. They soon arrive at a gas station where they are casually attacked by numerous zombies. However, the group manages to quickly execute them one by one. Back at the camp, Joseph restrains Lilith and places a bag over her head. He then carries his injured brother to see his mother, but Lysol suddenly stabs him. When asked why he did this, Lysol responds that he has no family. Fortunately, Joseph suffers no fatal wounds and manages to escape his paranoid brother. In the aftermath of this incident, Lysol frees Lilith, who proceeds to attack the camp members. This results in many people becoming infected, leading to absolute chaos. Shortly after, Trailer and his team return to the camp only to find it in turmoil. He quickly contacts Joss via walkie-talkie and learns that Joss, Joseph, Charlie, and 8 other survivors are trapped in the compound's basement. With time running out, Trailer uses the car's music to attract a horde of zombies. Taking advantage of the distraction, he and his team enter the compound to save the survivors. Not long after, they find the family and several other survivors. They attempt to lead them to safety, but several zombies appear at the scene, forcing Trailer to use his gun for defense. This, unfortunately, turns out to be a serious mistake as the shots attract even more zombies. With no other choice, Trailer orders his family to leave while he deals with the undead. He continues to fend them off until they overwhelm him and kill him. The sight devastates his family, but they are soon escorted to the truck by GYU and Guard. While driving, GYU gets a radio call informing him that Lysol has captured several other survivors inside the church. He asks Joss and Charlie to head off to somewhere safe with Bumper while he and Joseph deal with his grandson. When they arrive at the church, Lysol is nowhere to be found, but his accomplices are threatening the place. The elderly man hopes to know where Lysol is, but his accessory won't answer. GYU and Joseph quickly eliminate these two and rescue the group. The scene then moves to the morning where Guard is monitoring Joseph and Charlie near a lake. They spot a boat in the distance and hope to leave. When Joseph and GYU arrive minutes later, Lysol shows up unexpectedly and stabs Guard, injuring him severely. We find out that his real plan was to distract the men so he could kill Charlie and her baby. Lysol then approaches Charlie to finish her off, but Joss points a gun at him. She finally shoots him, but not before Lysol releases a group of zombies from the trunk of his car. Following this, the zombies approach Charlie and start attacking her. Joseph arrives minutes later and kills them all, but he finds that Charlie has already been bitten. A distressed Joseph then stabs his relative and leaves him to die. As the survivors walk, they are also crushed to see the last boat burning on fire. This breaks their will to live, and they are now ready to give up on their lives. But to their luck, Shuka arrives at the scene with 2 other boats. The survivors happily head towards them, but then a horde of zombies approaches too. Seeing this, GYU declares that he will stay behind to fend them off. Joseph tries his best to stop him, but the elderly man forces him to escape with Joss and his wife. After this, GYU bravely fights the zombies and eventually ends up beheading every single one of them. Meanwhile, on the boat, Charlie begins to have contractions. Joss helps her with the labor, and after a lot of struggle, she finally gives birth to a baby girl. Joseph quickly checks and confirms that the baby is not infected, which makes Charlie very happy. However, she knows that she is infected and can't stay alive much longer. She then asks Joseph to kill her before she transforms into a zombie and harms them. In the end, Joseph,